everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to share your comments down below. Today we embark on a journey that intertwines history, solidarity, and the call for empathy, drawing parallels between the colonial past experienced by many Asian nations almost a century ago and the struggles faced by the Palestinian people. Now, some Asians urge their fellow Asians to stand united. So join me in exploring this poignant connection and the collective call for support as we bridge the gap between shared histories and advocate for global understanding. In the tapestry of our shared human experience, echoes of colonial histories resonate across time and continent. Today, as some Asians rally their communities to stand in solidarity with Palestine, we delve into the profound impact of colonization on both regions, unpacking the interconnected threads of struggle and resilience. Now, this video aims to illuminate the parallels that bind us and inspire a collective commitment to justice, recognizing that the echoes of the past shape the cause for solidarity in the present. Check out these videos. I will be right back with more details.
This video is for all Asian people, and not just East Asian people. I mean all Asian people, like Southeast Asian and South Asians too. Technically, not Thai people, but this video is still for you. If you're Asian and you're currently going out of your way to condemn Hamas or stay neutral or even the audacity to support Israel, what are you doing? If you're Asian and you don't support Palestine, what are you doing? Let me remind you that less than 100 years ago, less than 80 years ago, more like 75 years ago, every single country was colonized one way or another. China, spheres of influence, and invaded by Japan during World War II. Until the end of World War II, countries like Taiwan and Korea were colonies of Japan. The whole greater India area was a colony of Britain. Vietnam was a colony of France. Lastly, but not limited to, the Philippines were a colony of Spain. Let us be so for real right now. I know so many of our parents and our grandparents do not like people of the countries that colonized us. Let's be for real. I know a lot of older Korean and Chinese people do not like Japanese people because of what Japan did. Our people suffered for what? For us to support colonizers now? It was 100 years ago. You're telling me that you would support Japan? You're telling me that if it was 100 years ago and the people in your village were like, hey, today we're going to revolt against the Japanese army, you wouldn't join them? You'd be like, well, actually, violence is bad. Can we just have peace? No, you wouldn't. Put it into even more perspective, Korea was a colony of Japan for 35 years. Taiwan was a colony of Japan for 50 years. The French colonized Vietnam for like 60 years. And the British Raj lasted in India for 90 years. Imagine all the terrible stuff that happened to our people in that amount of time. And then realize that Israel has been occupying Palestine for the last 75 years and counting. Korea, for example, was a colony of Japan for 35 long, and I know Koreans today are still hurt about it. How can you imagine the hurt and the pain for being colonized for over double that amount of time? If you're not Korean, apply this logic to yourself. The year that we all got our freedom was the same year that Palestinians lost theirs. So now can we as Asian people put our feet in the shoes of Palestinians? The only difference between us and Palestinians is that their occupation is happening now and ours happened in the past. As the children and the grandchildren of the colonized, it is our duty now to stand with those who are currently being colonized, who went through what our families went through. I ask you again, if you're Asian and you're not supporting Palestine, or even worse, you support Israel, what are you doing?
I wanted to lend my voice to the Asian American creators that I've seen talking about our histories and our personal experiences that have informed our support of Palestine. So I'm a third-generation Asian American whose family came from Hong Kong and Taiwan and had previously been in the United States in the late 1800s. I grew up with a lot of internal phobia when I was growing up. Everything China was wrong and bad, everything the United States was good and right, and that wasn't so much coming from my parents or my family, it was mostly coming from media, but it is what informed my views on foreign policy. So a few weeks ago, I did a video pointing out how there was a day that conservative media was running a lot of headlines vilifying activist student groups, BLM, and Chinese people in China for their support of Palestine. And I was a little surprised because it was the first time that I ever learned that China supports Palestine. It seems strange to me because in my eyes, China frequently engages in power imbalances with the territories and the people around them. So I was wondering, why do they support Palestine's sovereignty when, for example, they don't recognize Taiwan's sovereignty? In my eyes, Palestine and Taiwan have a more similar history than China and Palestine. So that made me curious about what Palestine and Taiwan's stances on each other are, and I was disappointed to learn that Palestine backs China's stance on Taiwan and Taiwan backs Israel. But what I realized is because China supports Palestine, Palestine cannot afford to oppose China where it comes to their stance on Taiwan, and because the United States supports Taiwan, Taiwan cannot afford to oppose the United States where it comes to the stance on Israel, which I think is really unfortunate. And it was finally paying particular attention to the support of people in Hong Kong for Palestine that finally helped me better understand my own position and how it relates to my personal history. It is Asians and Asian Americans who have in their history the devastation of Japanese colonialism, and then when the Japanese surrendered at the end of World War II, experiencing further colonialism and further harm when the Allies carved up our various countries, the United States, UK, and France. It is that same time period and that same approach that created the situation for the Palestinians that caused my mom to grow up as a refugee in the land where her family had been living for generations and generations, reliant upon the British for resources. So I've freely admitted that I am somebody who was largely ignorant about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict until a few weeks ago, but it is not that I naively changed my mind because I learned a few things about this one single issue. It was the first time in my life that I realized that I recognized my family's struggles and the struggles of the Palestinians.
Opinion about Palestine and Israel. I can't speak for Chinese people. Most Chinese people are not informed in this issue. And for myself, from the facts that I know, if I didn't get the facts wrong, I'm 100% for Palestine. It's an outrage, egregious injustice that even the funding of Israel, the movement, the Zionist movement is injustice. I mean, we have to listen to people who had experience on this matter and who has studied the issue. And for me, I agree 100% with what Edward Said said about Palestine. And if I didn't remember it wrong, he was born in Palestine and he cannot visit his own home. That's the kind of injustice. And for American people, most of people just take it as a matter of fact that most of them are for Israel. Don't even think. I'll give you one example. In a lot of university, if you go to give a talk and you are asked to sign a piece of paper, which essentially say that you cannot say anything against Israel. If you are for freedom of speech, aren't you angry about this piece of paper? You should look into it.
To all my Asian Americans, specifically the ones that look like me, some of y'all have really let the whole model minority myth rot your brains, and it shows. If you're angry at me for saying that, I really implore you to sit down and ask yourself why. My intention in making this video is not to speak over voices that deserve to be heard right now. So Palestinians, independent journalists, people that are honestly and transparently covering what is happening to the Palestinian people. Rather, I want to call to action all my East Asian brothers and sisters to consider their position in the situation and to just show support. This is a direct attack at you boba liberals. Conditional solidarity is a problem that plagues our community and hinders our progress, as well as the progress of other minorities that could greatly benefit from our support. Because of the model minority myth and the proximity-ness that we've been able to gain in this country, it is very easy for us to pick and choose what we want to care about and the causes that we support. You realistically cannot expect other people to stand with Yellow Peril to say hashtag stop Asian hate when we turn around and watch other minorities fighting for their liberation and where it's silent. And I want to be clear, there's a difference between stepping back and knowing when it's not your place to talk and just being completely apathetic to a situation that's going on and having the privilege to be able to take that position of neutrality. Just know that your peers are looking to you as an example to do what's right, especially those of you in all Asian friend groups. We all know some of y'all are nasty racists. That is where this change needs to start, is within these bubbles of Asian exclusivity. To the Asian American creators that are speaking up, stopping the spread of misinformation, truly thank you, because not only are you doing our community a favor, but you're greatly helping the people in Palestine. You are doing the hard work of breaking down the intergenerational internalized and the boba liberalism ends now. It's such a ridiculous name, but truly, if we expect other people to show up for us, we need to do that first. We need to reciprocate, because the liberation of one brings us that much closer to true liberation for all of us.
Now, in the heart of this dialogue, it's crucial to explore the historical tapestry that binds Asian nations and the Palestinian experience. Almost a century ago, Asians bore the weight of colonization, a shared struggle that forged a common narrative of resilience and self-determination. Just as many Asian nations sought to reclaim their sovereignty, today Palestinians navigate a similar path. As we traverse this historical landscape, it becomes evident that echoes of colonial legacies persist, connecting disparate regions in a shared struggle for justice. The call for support from some Asians to stand with Palestine is rooted in this profound understanding, a recognition that the fight against oppression unites people beyond geographical boundaries. Now, through the lens of history, we witness the resilience of nations that have overcome the shadows of colonization. It is this resilience that fuels the plea for unity, encouraging Asians to empathize with struggles faced by Palestinians. This solidarity is not just a call for support, it's a bridge between the historical struggles that define us. Now, in expanding our exploration, let's delve into the socio-political intricacies that underscore the parallels between the Asian experience of colonization and the contemporary challenges faced by the Palestinians. The scars of colonialism run deep, leaving lasting imprints on culture, identity, and geopolitical dynamics. As we reflect on the historical struggles of Asian nations, it's essential to acknowledge the solidarity born from shared adversity. This shared history lays the groundwork for Asians to empathize with the plight of Palestinians, recognizing the resilience required to rebuild nations and preserve cultural identities. Moreover, examining the present-day geopolitical landscape reveals interconnected struggles for self-determination. The call for Asian support resonates with the understanding that standing against oppression anywhere is a stand for justice everywhere. It is a plea to transcend borders and unite in the face of systemic challenges that echo the echoes of the past. Now, let 2023, hundreds of millions did take to the streets across the Asian continent, reaffirming the world's solidarity with Palestine. The ugliness of Israel's war on Palestine has drawn hundreds of millions of people around the world to take to the streets and to social media to demonstrate their anger at the Bay of Gaza. People of all ages, many of them who have never been to a manifestation, are taking the first step to make a sign and walk into a crowd of people chanting in a range of languages, "Free Palestine" and "Ceasefire now." Across Asia especially, from Pakistan to South Korea, millions of people did participate in a range of solidarity protests. Some of these demonstrations have been backed by governments, such as protests of over 1 million in Jakarta, where Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi said every 10 minutes a child is unalived in Gaza. Thousands of parents have lost their children, while thousands of children have lost their parents. Now, in examining the intersection of global geopolitics and the call for solidarity, we must navigate the currents of international relations that shape perceptions and influence support for causes such as the Palestinian struggle among Asian communities. The dynamics of alliances, diplomatic ties, and geopolitical interests play a significant role in molding public opinion and fostering or hindering cross-cultural understanding. Moreover, the power of media and cultural exchange cannot be understated. In today's interconnected world, information flows swiftly, transcending borders. Exploring how narratives are crafted and disseminated offers insight into how awareness is raised and perceptions are shaped. The role of media, both traditional and social, in amplifying voices, fostering empathy, is crucial in building bridges of understanding. And we have seen media playing a very very, very important role ever since the 7th of October, because a lot of people have been talking about this war on TikTok and other different platforms. Global solidarity movements also contribute to this narrative. Examining how diverse communities come together to champion shared causes demonstrates the potential for collective action in fostering positive change. Now, this interplay of global activism showcases the strength of unity and the impact it can have on influencing policies and public sentiment. Furthermore, the importance of education and open conversations emerges as a critical aspect. Promoting a nuanced understanding of historical context, cultural differences, and shared aspirations is essential in dispelling misconceptions. Education becomes a powerful tool in fostering empathy and cultivating a more informed global citizenry. In unraveling the layers of this complex tapestry, we find that the call for Asian support for Palestine is not merely a reflection of historical parallels, but a response to the evolving dynamics of our interconnected world. It's an exploration of the role played by global geopolitics, media, solidarity movements, and education in shaping perceptions and inspiring collective action for a more just and equitable future. Now, many Asians have rightfully resisted supporting colonizers, considering the impact of colonization on their own histories. The call for solidarity with Palestine can be seen as a nuanced stance, emphasizing empathy for those currently facing oppression while maintaining a critical reflection on the historical injustices Asians have endured. It prompts us to navigate the delicate balance between historical wounds and the collective pursuit of justice in the present. Now, beyond historical parallels, the call for Asian support for Palestine resonates on a profound human level. It transcends geopolitical considerations and historical grievances, tapping into a shared sense of humanity. At its core, this call is a plea to recognize the universal value of justice and empathy. It invites a look beyond borders, acknowledging the inherent dignity and rights of every individual. In supporting Palestine, Asians are aligning with a broader commitment to human rights, emphasizing the interconnectedness of shared human experience and the collective responsibility to stand against oppression wherever it may occur. We have finally come to the end of the video. What do you have to say about this video? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video.